I've decided to kick off a top 10 series featuring the most popular tips from the first part of 2021 while I take a little time off for vacation with the family. Here's the first one. You're listening to the Daily Sales Tips Podcast, and I'm your host, Scott Ingram. Today, my transparent friend Todd Capone is back. Todd is the author of the 3-time award-winning and best-selling book, The Transparency Sale, and a top-rated keynote speaker and trainer as principal of Sales Melon, LLC. Here he is.
Hey everybody, Todd Capone here, and I was asked recently by the crew over at Scaled Consulting and Jake Dunlop to provide my perspective on where the world of sales is headed. And I believe for us to do that right, we need to look to where we came from, and specifically 105 years ago. So the year was 1916. And it was a time when sales was not only trusted and respected, but it was actually admired. And at the World Sales Congress that year, in front of 3,000 sales professionals, Woodrow Wilson, right in the middle of World War I, talked about how important the sales profession was to the future of our country. And it was about putting the right tools in the hands of the right people at the right companies, because when those companies flourish, we as a country flourish. So, that just brings a tear to your eye, right? I believe that we have lost sight of that. We have lost sight of putting the customer first, because when the customer is successful, we're successful. Now, back then, scale wasn't a thing. Sales had to be done face to face. It had to be done authentically. And through the gifts of things like the telephone and email, we lost our face. And we lost that putting the customer first and use those tools for scale and for selfish good versus for the customer. Now, we always have known that transparency sells better than perfection. Even in 1919, Arthur Dunn was quoted as saying, "If the truth won't sell it, don't sell it." And here we are, it's 2021, and due to the proliferation of reviews and feedback and everything we do, buy, and experience, we now have to embrace transparency and honesty. We know it sells better than perfection. The behavioral science tells us, the research tells us, the practical application tells us, and now due to that proliferation, we've got to do it anyway. So sure, I'm biased around transparency, but I believe wholly that the future of sales is radically transparent. And when we put the customer first and realize again that their success is our success and vice versa, that's when we all win. And I believe that it has to happen, especially due to technology innovations that are creating environments where you can now buy a car online. I actually saw on Amazon you could buy a house. So for us to regain that foothold as being a value add and not a necessary evil, transparency is the future of sales, and it sells better than perfection anyway. So let's do it. All right. So I would love to hear what you think. Thanks.
The video version of this tip and more about Todd Capone and his book, The Transparency Sale, are all at dailysales.tips/751. Once you've clicked over there, be sure to come back tomorrow for another great sales tip. Thanks for listening.